Life is not an accident. Every person you meet and every challenge you face happens for a reason. When you found yourself in the life of a narcissist, it wasn't just a coincidence. You may have questioned, why me? You may have wondered why you had to go through so much pain, confusion, and struggle. The truth is, God placed you in that situation for a reason. He knew you were strong enough to handle it. He knew that even though the road would be tough, you would come out on the other side wiser, stronger, and more powerful than ever before. People who have easy lives often do not grow. They stay the same because they never face anything that forces them to change. Denzel Washington once said, "Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship." This means that struggles, difficulties, and even heartbreak can be the very things that shape you into a better person. If everything were always easy, you would never know how strong you truly are. When God placed you in the life of a narcissist, He wasn't trying to punish you. He was preparing you for something greater. A narcissist is someone who is completely focused on themselves. They believe they are more important than everyone else, and they use others to feed their ego. They can be charming at first, making you feel special, wanted, and even loved. But over time, their true nature begins to show. They lie, manipulate, and try to control the people around them. They make others feel small, so they can feel powerful. And when you met this person, you may have felt trapped in their game. But what if God placed you there not to be destroyed, but to shine your light in their darkness? Maybe you were the only person in their life who showed them real love. Maybe you were the one who challenged their selfish ways. Maybe you were sent to be an example of kindness, patience, and strength. Even though it felt painful, your presence in their life had a purpose. Sometimes, people come into our lives to teach us something important. The narcissist in your life might have taught you how to stand up for yourself. Maybe they made you realize that you don't need anyone's approval to be worthy. Maybe they pushed you to find your own voice and your own strength. Without them, you might have never learned those lessons. God never puts us in situations without a reason. He allows challenges to come so that we can grow. When you were in the middle of the storm, it may have felt like you were losing, but now, looking back, you can see that you were actually winning. Every time you stood your ground, every time you refused to let them break you, every time you chose to love yourself instead of letting them control you, you were proving that you were stronger than they ever expected. Denzel Washington reminds us that success isn't just about winning, it's about refusing to give up. You didn't let the narcissist define you. You didn't let their words or actions destroy your spirit. That is true success. Even if they never changed, even if they never realized what they lost, that is not your concern. What matters is that you walked away with your dignity, your strength, and your faith intact. The pain you went through was not wasted. It was part of a greater plan. God placed you in that situation for a reason, and you fulfilled your purpose. Now you are ready for something better. You are stronger than before. You are wiser than before. You know your worth, and you will never let anyone take your power away again. The chapter with the narcissist is over, and now, a new brighter chapter begins. A narcissist is not like other people. At first they may appear kind, charming, and even loving. They know exactly what to say to make you feel special. They make promises, shower you with attention, and act as if they truly care. But over time, something changes. The warmth disappears, and you start to see their true nature. They become controlling, manipulative, and selfish. Instead of lifting you up, they tear you down. Instead of appreciating your kindness, they take advantage of it. You may have thought it was your fault. You may have tried harder to please them, thinking that if you loved them enough, they would change. But no matter what you did, it was never enough. The narcissist always found a way to make you feel like you were the problem. They twisted your words, blamed you for their mistakes, and made you question your own reality. This is what narcissists do. They don't take responsibility for their actions. Instead, they shift the blame onto others. The battle with a narcissist is not just about arguments or disagreements. It is a battle for control. They want to dominate your thoughts, emotions, and actions. They test your limits, pushing you further and further to see how much you will tolerate. If you stand up for yourself, they make you feel guilty. If you try to leave, they pull you back in with false promises. They create a cycle where one moment you feel loved, and the next you feel completely alone. At first, you may not have recognized what was happening. You may have excused their behavior, thinking they were just having a bad day. You may have convinced yourself that they didn't mean to hurt you. But deep down, something felt wrong. You felt drained, confused, and unappreciated. The person who once made you feel special was now making you feel invisible. God allowed this battle in your life for a reason. He wanted to show you how strong you really are. Every time the narcissist tried to break you, you found the strength to keep going. Every time they made you doubt yourself, you found a way to hold on to your truth. Even when you felt powerless, something inside you refused to give up. That was not weakness. That was resilience. Denzel Washington reminds us that challenges are necessary for growth. If life was always easy, we would never become stronger. The battle with the narcissist was not meant to destroy you. It was meant to reveal your inner strength. You learned how to set boundaries. You learned how to trust your instincts. You learned that love is not about control, manipulation, or fear. Love is about respect, kindness, and mutual care. There were moments when you felt exhausted, wondering if you would ever break free. The narcissist wanted you to feel powerless, because that's how they kept control. They made you question yourself so that you wouldn't see your own worth. But what they didn't realize was that every battle was making you stronger. Every painful experience was shaping you into someone wiser. You were learning, even when you didn't realize it. The narcissist may have thought they were winning. They may have believed they had complete control over you. But God had a different plan. He was using this experience to prepare you for something greater. He was molding you into someone who would never allow anyone to treat them this way again. You didn't just survive the battle, you were being prepared for victory. Now looking back, you can see the truth. You were never weak. You were never the problem. You were simply in a battle you didn't choose, but you fought with courage and grace. The narcissist tried to take your light, but they failed. You still have your heart, your strength, and your faith. And soon, you will realize that the battle was not just about surviving. It was about becoming the person you were always meant to be. One day, something inside you shifted. After all the confusion, the pain, and the endless cycle of manipulation, you began to see things clearly. The narcissist had spent so much time making you feel small, making you doubt yourself, and making you question your worth. But now, for the first time, you saw the truth. You were never the problem. The moment of awakening doesn't happen all at once. It starts as a small voice inside you, whispering that something isn't right. Maybe you ignored it at first, convincing yourself that things would get better. Maybe you kept hoping that if you just loved them enough, they would change. But deep down, your soul was trying to tell you the truth. You deserved more. The narcissist worked hard to make sure you didn't see your own worth. They wanted you to depend on them, to seek their approval, and to believe that you needed them. They used manipulation, guilt, and even moments of kindness to keep you trapped in the cycle. But the truth is, real love doesn't work that way. Real love doesn't make you feel broken, confused, or worthless. Real love lifts you up. Denzel Washington once said, "Denzel, let someone who doesn't see your worth tell you what you deserve." And that was the moment everything changed. You no longer needed them to validate you. You no longer needed their love, their approval, or their acceptance. You realized that you were already enough. This moment of awakening was powerful, but it wasn't easy. The narcissist had conditioned you to doubt yourself. They had made you believe that you couldn't live without them. But now, you saw through their lies. You understood that their power over you was only an illusion. They only had control because you gave it to them. And the moment you decided to take your power back, they lost. The narcissist noticed the change in you. They sensed that you were no longer playing their game. Maybe they became angrier, trying to pull you back into their web of lies. Maybe they pretended to be kind again, hoping you would forget all the pain they had caused. But it was too late. Once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. Once you recognize your worth, you can't go back to being the person who allowed them to treat you like you were less. At first you may have felt guilty. The narcissist made you believe that they needed you. They played the victim, making you feel responsible for their happiness. But now you understood that their happiness was never your responsibility. You were never supposed to fix them, heal them, or sacrifice yourself for them. That was never your burden to carry. For so long they made you feel like you were weak. But now, standing in your truth, you realize something incredible. You were always strong. If you weren't strong, you wouldn't have survived all the manipulation. If you weren't strong, you wouldn't have kept going even when they tried to break you. The fact that you made it this far proves that you have a power inside you that they could never take away. This moment of awakening was the beginning of something new. You were no longer living for their approval. You were no longer willing to settle for less than you deserved. You were no longer afraid to walk away. God didn't put you in the narcissist's life so that you could suffer. He put you there to learn, to grow, and to awaken to your true strength. Now, with this new understanding, you were finally ready to take the next step. You were ready to choose yourself. You were ready to walk away, not as a victim, but as someone who had found their true power. Walking away from a narcissist is not just about leaving them physically. It is about freeing yourself mentally and emotionally. It is about reclaiming your power, your identity, and your peace. The narcissist never expected you to walk away. They thought they had full control over you. They believed you would always come back, no matter how badly they treated you. But when you finally realized your worth, you made the decision that changed everything. You chose yourself. At first, the idea of walking away may have seemed impossible. The narcissist had conditioned you to believe that you needed them. They had convinced you that no one else would love you the way they did. They made you question whether you were strong enough to leave. But deep inside there was a voice that refused to be silenced. That voice reminded you that you deserved more, that you were meant for greater things, and that staying in this toxic relationship would only keep you from becoming the person you were meant to be. When you finally walked away, the narcissist reacted in exactly the way you expected. Maybe they became angry, calling you selfish, ungrateful, or even crazy. Maybe they suddenly became kind again, trying to pull you back in with apologies and empty promises. They might have told you they had changed, that they couldn't live without you, or that they would do anything to make things right. But this time their words had no power over you. This time you saw through the act. Denzel Washington once said, "Suffer, you'll never be criticized by someone doing more than you. You'll always be criticized by someone doing less." The narcissist wanted to keep you small because they were afraid of your strength. They never truly loved you. They loved the control they had over you. The moment you took that control away, they panicked. But their reaction no longer mattered. You had made your decision, and there was no turning back. Walking away was not just an escape, it was a victory. It was proof that they no longer had power over you. Every step you took away from them was a step toward freedom, healing, and self-respect. You didn't just leave the narcissist behind. You left behind the version of yourself that tolerated their abuse. You stepped into a new reality where you no longer needed their validation. It wasn't easy. There were moments of doubt, moments where you missed the good times, moments where you wondered if you had made the right choice. But every time you felt weak, you reminded yourself of the pain they caused. You reminded yourself of the times they made you feel unworthy, invisible, and alone. You reminded yourself that real love does not require suffering. Healing didn't happen overnight, but with each passing day, you felt lighter. The weight of their words no longer crushed you. The fear they instilled in you began to fade. You started rediscovering yourself, the person you were before they tried to break you. You remembered what it felt like to laugh freely, to dream without limits, and to love without fear. And then, one day you woke up and realized that you were finally free. The narcissist no longer had a place in your heart, your mind, or your future. They had lost, and you had won. Not because you hurt them back, not because you sought revenge, but because you walked away with your dignity, your strength, and your faith intact. God didn't put you in the narcissist's life so that you could be broken. He put you there to learn, to grow, and to walk away stronger than ever before. And that is exactly what you did. You didn't just survive, you triumphed. Now that the narcissist is no longer a part of your life, you are stepping into a new beginning. At first it may feel unfamiliar, even a little scary. You spent so much time trapped in their cycle of manipulation that freedom might seem overwhelming. But this is the life you were meant to live. A life without fear, without doubt, and without someone controlling your every move. This is your time to rebuild, to rediscover yourself, and to embrace the happiness that was always meant for you. At first you might still hear their voice in your head. The insults they threw at you, the doubts they planted, the fear they used to control you. It may linger for a while, but with every passing day their voice gets quieter, and yours becomes louder. The voice inside you, the one they tried to silence, is now growing stronger. This is the voice of your true self, the person who was always there, but was hidden beneath all the pain. Denzel Washington once said, "Seize and put God first in everything you do." This is your time to do exactly that. You are no longer seeking love from someone who never truly valued you. Now you are seeking love from within, from God, and from the people who genuinely care about you. You are no longer desperate for validation because you finally understand that your worth was never tied to their opinion of you. Walking away was only the first step. Now you get to build a life that reflects your true strength and beauty. You get to choose what makes you happy. You get to surround yourself with people who uplift you instead of tearing you down. You get to explore new possibilities, chase your dreams, and love yourself in ways you never did before. The pain you went through was not wasted. Every tear you cried, every moment of doubt, and every battle you fought was shaping you into the person you are today. You are no longer a victim, you are a survivor. More than that, you are victorious. The narcissist didn't break you. In fact, they unknowingly helped you become the strongest version of yourself. At times they may try to come back. Narcissists hate losing control. And when they realize they no longer have power over you, they might try to manipulate their way back into your life. But you are different now. You see through their lies, their fake apologies, and their empty promises. You no longer need them. They are part of your past, and your future is far too bright to let them in again. One day, you will look back at this experience and feel nothing but gratitude, not because of the pain they caused, but because of the lessons you learned. You will realize that God placed you in that situation not to suffer but to awaken. He knew you needed to go through that storm to find your strength, and now you stand on the other side. Stronger, wiser, and freer than ever before. This is just the beginning. Your best days are ahead of you. You are walking into a life filled with love, peace, and joy. You are discovering what it truly means to be happy, not because of someone else, but because of the love you have for yourself. No one will ever be able to take your power away again. You are a warrior, a survivor, and a beacon of strength. You have proven that nothing, not even the darkest storm, can dim your light. You have stepped into the life you were always meant to live. And from this moment on, you will never let anyone take your freedom away again.